So this is my video number 83, and I'm going to start with this articles from the encyclopedia that I read before. It's a children's encyclopedia. Yeah, and I think it's for the children's of 7 to 9 years old. It's quite simple. Each article has a very small amount of information, but especially when I read it to myself, because all of the stuff I know in some aspect from my school experience, but the problem is with the number of words that I understand by reading it with my eyes without saying it loud. But when I try to be completely correct, I try to put all the unknown words, I mean the words that I don't know how to pronounce correctly, into the dictionary and check the pronunciation, and it's really difficult. I become tired of this stuff 10 words later. So I can read it without going to the dictionary, but then I can kind of not learn because I'm sure that I learn the right pronunciation from the first try of checking it in the vocabulary, in the dictionary. But at least I have this first experience of the new word. And the thing is that first I need to meet this word somewhere, maybe in some artificial environment like the textbook, and I try to check it in the dictionary. I try to pronounce it correctly and maybe learn its meaning if I don't know it yet. But later, if I encounter this word somewhere in the real life, like in the movie or in some article, newspaper article, or some book, so my brain will remember that I saw this word before, but again I need to go to the dictionary to check the pronunciation or the meaning of the word. But at least this will be my second attempt, and maybe with the third or with the fourth attempt, or third or fourth encounter of this word, I will finally learn it kind of how to use it. Of course, it's easier when I hear this word from some audio resource. Anyway, the thing is that I need to do this first step, which is kind of difficult and it's boring, and I don't have motivation doing this first step. But without this first step, I can't do the second step, because by the definition, the second, the third, and the fourth step, for example, the fourth step, when I surely learn this word, this step can be done only if I made 3 previous steps. Without even one of the previous steps, it won't be fourth step, it will be the third step. So let's go quickly through some of the articles that I read, and I'll try to do some brief thoughts about the particular articles based on the pictures that I see in these articles, without going into the text, so that it won't be like I see the text and I just retell it. It will be like my experience from my memory, but I can use the keyboards which show the basic elements of the picture. So my primary targets in this book are two topics, the biology and the science. So let's go with it. Body cells. So I remember this, we learned in the 5th grade on the biology that the cells in general, and I think it was shown using the example of some onion cell, because they are one of the biggest cells, plant cells, plus they are the biggest cells, and it is possible to see them through the ordinary microscope which is used in the biology classes. And these cells have this structure like the nucleus in the center of the cell, and then this cytoplasm, liquid stuff which contains all the nutrients for the performance of this cell, I don't know, and mitochondrion, which are the factories that produces, I think they save up the energy and then release it, and they are the plants that give the energy to the cell itself, and of course cell membrane, which covers the cell, protects it from the outer environment, and which defines the size of the cell itself. The next topic is brain, and again there are two main pictures on the screen. The first one shows that the brain connects to the nerves in the human body, and the nervous system is used by brain to get the information from all the parts of the bodies, from the skin, from the fingers, the toes, from all the organs, from the eyes, and from everything. And the current research, when the people were put into some laboratory, and special head was placed on the head of these people, and when people thought about something, or they performed some mental operations, like recalling something, or being in a good mood, and so on, these special heads, they registered the activity over certain areas of the brain, because in the brain there are these neurons which are like the electrical charges that go in, which works inside the brain, and it is possible to catch this to catch the location of this electrical charges. So what these scientists did, and they discovered that that specific areas of the brain are responsible for the specific activities that our brain can perform. And another discovery is that there are the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain, and I think the right hemisphere is responsible for the creativity, and for the intuition, and the left hemisphere is responsible for this logical thinking, for the speech itself. Okay, next we go towards let me see what will be the next article. Okay, it's not very interesting, really. Okay, I think the first article was about the human cell, and now we have this cells in general, which exist inside the plants. And I probably should say about the onion cells under the microscope, about these plant cells, but in the end they are almost identical. Well, they gave this particular picture gave more information about the plant cell than the human cell, because if I'm not mistaken, the human cell, one average human cell, has less these elements inside of it than the plant cell. But in the end, this this stuff doesn't have much difference, because in the end I don't need this information. I just need to read it aloud correctly, or to recall this small stuff that I already told about it. Next we go to changing states. This is about the science. So there are three types of states: the solid state, and the best example to demonstrate this state is the water, because the water can change into different states according to different external conditions. For example, when the temperature is below 0, the water changes into the solid state. It becomes ice. When the temperature is between 0 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius, water stays in its the most popular state, which is a liquid. And finally, if we boil the water and the temperature gets higher than 100 degrees, then water evaporates and it changes into gas. And another interesting pictures here, they show the shifting between different states, and they give the names for this shifting. So melting is the change from from the solid state into the liquid state, like ice melts into the water. Solidifying is the reversed activity, reverse process, when water, a liquid, becomes a solid object. Evaporation is the process of changing a liquid into a gas, and condensing, again the opposite process, when the gas turns into liquid. We have a chemistry article which describes atom as the basic foundation for the elements themselves, but for the around world. But chemistry works not with the atoms but with the molecules. And for example, if physics operates on atomic level, like just an atom of hydrogen, then chemistry operates on molecule level, which means hydrogen, I think hydrogen exists as the molecule made of two atoms of hydrogen, H2, in the world as a gas. So, or like, for example, oxygen, O2, not just oxygen like a separate atom, but oxygen like the whole molecule which exists in the world. Well, actually, yeah, atoms does not exist in the world. They combine into molecules, and chemistry operates with these natural combinations, but physics was able to get the individual atom from the molecule and work with this atom. So yeah, but atoms has different types, and they were all discovered and placed in the specific Mendeleev's periodic table, and all these elements have specific characteristics like metals or gases or other stuff, and chemists really can use this periodic table to get the information about these metals, these elements, these atoms, these elements, and this information helps them to understand the combination of different elements in one molecule, like H2O, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. They create water. Again, there is this stuff like the rust, for example, and the rust is the result of the chemical reaction when iron combines with the oxygen through specific conditions in the atmosphere, maybe when there is water of some kind, and then ferrous iron has the chemical reaction with the oxygen in H2O in the molecule of water, and then this rust rusting reaction appears, and of course the metal dies. The metal ion dies, and it changes into this the powder of rust. Next we go to circuits. Yeah, there is the simplest circuit is shown, like if we have a battery, then some switch and the bulb, and if we connect all these three elements with these special wires, and then we turn the switch on, then the electricity goes through this wire from one side of the battery to the other side, and when the electrical charge goes through the bulb, it starts to give the light, and we have the light. So this is the basic demonstration of how the electricity works and how we get the light in our rooms when we switch on the I don't know, the switcher on the wall. But in the industrial scope, it's kind of more complicated, because with the battery, the electrical current is a direct current. It flows only in one direction. I think usually it flows from the plus sign to the and sign, though because this is the historical agreement, but the actual electrons flow from the minus side sign of the battery to the plus sign. But in the industrial situation, they have this AC, alternating current, which change its directions with the particular frequency. This helps to minimize the losses of the current over the wires, and we have to pay less money for this particular type of the current, but the principle is the same. Now next we have let me see what we have next. Something on science or biology. There are lots of articles with different topics, and I just decided to skip these topics, because I can't really go through all the topics one by in a row. It's really takes lots of time just to go through each article, trying to write down and check the pronunciation of the words that I'm not sure in. The next article is from the health category. It's about biology category. It's about the digestion. So there is this 3 pictures. One picture shows all the internal organs inside the body, how they are situated according to the rest of the body, and that they are connected with the mouth and the nose and with the let's say rear of the body, so the part through which all the waste goes away. So in the mouth there are 32 teeth, and they divide into 3 groups. Like incisors can bite off let's say the chicken, the part of the chicken, off the whole chicken. Then we have canines, which used they say these canines tear the food. I don't know the difference, tear the food or cut. I think they are just strong teeth, and they are used on the strong food, and Incisors are used on quite simple, not the simple food, on quite soft food. Yeah. And finally, molars. They are situated at the end of the mouth, and they are used to crush the food and to grind it into some soft substance which can be swallowed by us. Then the food goes through the esophagus and it is digested inside the stomach, and then through the small intestine and through the large intestine, and then the waste of the food goes out of the body. The next one will be electricity. Electricity in terms of the phenomenon, because the topic on circuits was about the radio electronics, when you apply these principles to the basic to the practical usages. But electricity itself is more fundamental phenomenon which is studied by the physics, the theoretical physics, and so on. And the natural example of the electricity was the lightning, and later people were able to produce electricity. One of the ways to produce electricity is through the wind turbines. When they rotate in the wind, then the energy of the wind is turned into the energy of the electricity, and electricity is used to charge all electronic devices, the fridge, the computer, and electricity goes through the wires and gives us this light in the evening after the sun goes down. Another article is about elements. Again, it corresponds to chemistry, but it's about the science. Okay, I see. Now, I think, or maybe not. Okay, chemistry. So, elements. The article is about elements, and they just give the example of elements and the periodic table discovered by Mendeleev, about which I told earlier. So there are different types of elements, and they just show that helium is used in the balloons because helium as a gas is lighter than the average air. So when you fill the balloon with the helium, it tries to fly up because according to the Archimedes force, which pushes the light object out of the liquid, the space which is filled with the heavier, let's say, gas or liquid. Calcium can be found in milk. And calcium is useful for the body, for the bones, for the teeth. Aluminum is used to create spoons and forks in the canteen, and also the this tins itself. Tins where you can keep your sparkling drink. These tins which you drink, and then you throw them away. They are light and they are not magnetic. And gold is another element which is considered to be quite rare and expensive. Okay, let's move forward. I think I have time to go through a couple of other articles. Another article is about evolution. Okay, each introduces the idea that all the animals evolved from the first organisms which lived in the water and had very small amount of cells, but then these organisms kind of evolved. The number of the cells increased. They adapted to the environment. They started to perform different functions, and finally the animals appeared, like the giraffe, which evolved through time with this long neck, which is used to get the leaves from the high branches of the trees in Africa. And Charles Darwin was the scientist who discovered and presented this theory to the public, and he was not sure whether he had to show this theory to the public, because it was against the theory of the creation by God, according to the Bible. But then one of his friends said that if he didn't show this to the public, then there was another scientist who was working on the same theory. That's why Charles Darwin published it. And the proof of this theory of evolution is that all the breeds of the dogs were created by man through this evolving stuff. They were all the breeds of dogs were created. They were evolved from some first prehistoric dog. They were not created like they are in the first place. And another article, it's about feeling, which means it's about feeling. So The article is about biology, and we just have the picture of different facial expression of the particular child who tries to express the horror, but his horror looks more like he shows the horror with his eyes, but his mouth shows more the surprise. Then his angry facial expression looks more like he's sad, and his sad facial expression looks like he very sad. But the happiness is shown alright, and disgust is shown alright as well. Next, what we have here is the next article is food. The food again, it's from the science topic, because food is divided into 5 major groups according to this picture, and 2 main groups are carbohydrates, which are grains, porridge, and all this stuff, bread and everything, the powder, the flour. Another one is fruits and vegetables, and the meat, and the protein which is produced from which is created in our body from the meat, the fish, from the different nuts. Finally, fat and sugar, and dairy food, which comes from the milk and all other products which are created from the milk, like the cheese, for example. Finally, I think this will be the final article for today. It's for forces. This article introduces that yes, there is the force when you push the toy car, it runs forward, or if you pull something with the string which you tie to this object, then this object goes in the direction of your hand where you pull the string to. And if you put some object, some rectangular object, parallelepiped object on the slope, then if the friction is enough, then this object does not go to the bottom of this slope, because friction keeps it from falling, but the gravity force tries to move it down. So in this case, the forces are balanced, and we have another type of forces which are not so obvious. The gravity force, which which pulls all the objects to the surface of Earth. So when you throw to the air an apple, it falls to the ground. This is the result of the gravity force applied to this apple. Then magnetism, which exists between the magnetic field and the iron objects, and this magnetic field is usually created by the magnets, and Earth itself is a huge magnet with two poles, and compass, for example, feels this magnetic force, and its arrow shows to the north and to the south. And finally, as I said, in the example of the balanced forces, we have the friction, which prevents the object from sliding away from some particular surface. And I think with this I stop my today's lecture. The next time I will talk about the fractions, and even describing this stuff, one small topic, one small article about each topic. It takes lots of time, and really it's kind of hard to perform this stuff. And I have an interesting something I can. I'm going to read a couple of my poems from this All Poetry.com, which I published. So let's go for it very quickly. Why not? The birds are singing in the trees, the sun is shining in the sky. I feel the gentle touch of breeze, which makes my spirit rise so high. Next, eventually we'll all die. This is the flip side of our life. While we have time before our rest, let's bring it on and do our best. When Spanish traveled to the west, for riches India possessed, he reached a brand new place instead. That's how they founded Disneyland. And one ancient Greek once said, for fun, the earth rotates around the sun. 2,000 years have evanesced. One modern Pole replied, no jest. Yeah, well, let's go with this. Arrange the things inside your home, arrange the thoughts inside your mind. Do this routine when you're alone, do even more so in the crowd. Don't ask for whom the bells toll far ahead. They toll for you, the life you always had. There is no doom except a fate self-made. You have no clue the limits in your head. The pirates sail straight through the ocean whenever, wherever they want. The life is in infinite motion. The salty sea waters their home. Okay, I think, yeah, I almost, okay, I reached the beginning of my poems, but I have this one. An ancient road goes through the woods, the old white tower stands ahead, if only I could feel its mood, forget the past, forgive the dead. And with this romantic or philosophical, let's say, emotion, I am going to finish my video, which is vlog 83, and I hope to do more videos which are less than 50 minutes, and it will help me to do more of them during the week and to reach my 100 videos maybe into month. That's all for today.